Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in for another paranormal pit stop, which tonight will focus on a sleepy ex-community tucked away in the eastern reaches of Snohomish County in western Washington, that in recent times is recognized for its association with a slew of scary stories and centuries-old lore, as well as for holding the title of being the first live mining camp on the western slopes of the Cascade Range. Are you ready to explore the ghost town of Monte Cristo? Historically, in 1889, large silver and gold veins were discovered at the site now holding Monte Cristo by prospectors Joseph Pearsall and Frank Peabody, resulting in the early formation of a town site. In 1891, a wagon road was paved through the area, and in 1893, the Everett-Monte Cristo Railway was established to connect the two communities. As the town grew, by 1894, it boasted saloons, hotels, stores, laundry stops, a barber, and both a dairy and meat market. And notably, from that year to 1897, Frederick Trump, grandfather to former President Donald Trump, operated a popular local hotel and alleged brothel. Sadly, Monte Cristo was subjected to heavy flooding, accompanied by frequent mine closures and damages to both the town and its rail lines, some of the worst of which occurred in 1897 and resulted in a number of families fleeing the area in favor of more hospitable conditions. By 1899, most of the mines had closed, with their owners migrating elsewhere. In 1907, mining was ordered to cease entirely, and in 1936, local railroad tracks were torn up. Monte Cristo would continue on from this point as a tourist destination until, in 1980, the county road was flooded out, leaving only one lodge operational. Sadly, this lodge would burn to the ground in 1983, and following, the town site would be acquired by the Monte Cristo Preservation Association. While only a handful of original structures remain standing, today, the old route is quite popular among hikers and mountain bikers. Monte Cristo is not accessible by vehicle, only by trail via Barlow Pass. Oh, and as an added layer of warning for any contemplating a visit, the river water is contaminated by arsenic and other heavy metals left behind from mining, and is extremely toxic. Over the years, a number of local legends passed down through generations tell that Monte Cristo is haunted by the spirits of former miners and residents, some murdered, others that succumbed to disease, and others still who suffered to fatal accidents, avalanches, or even flooding. And across the site, both staff and guests have reported disembodied voices in full conversation, ghostly lights like campfires in the surrounding forests, orbs, strange mists, and half-formed silhouettes in the backgrounds of photographs, and encounters with full-bodied entities in old-fashioned attire that look so real many mistake them for actors or staff before doing a double take to find they've vanished into thin air. Chillingly, several hikers, climbers, and the like have gone missing right near the area, only for their bodies to turn up later in grisly states. And those walking the trail have described sighting hikers in the distance that slowly fade into nothingness upon approach. Several investigations of Monte Cristo have yielded inexplicably high EMF levels and constant EVP activity, and those who've camped near have recounted footsteps and strange noises heard outside their tents at night, along with the sounds of old equipment clattering into the rock. One famous tale tells that, long ago, possibly over a claim or over a woman, one miner pushed another off a nearby cliff, resulting in the severing of the victim's hand and eventual death, after which the other miner was promptly thrown in jail, safely locked away. Inexplicably, the next morning, the murderous prisoner was discovered dead within his cell, with indents from 5 fingernails around his neck. It's said the murdered miner's vengeful spirit remains in Monte Cristo to this day, wandering encroaching woodlands, an axe where his hand should be. Also reported across the old town site are disembodied footsteps from vacant structures, strange lights like lanterns spied through windows after dark, and the sounds of pickaxes hitting rock, explosions, machinery, and sometimes, disturbingly, screaming, heard emanating from the long-dormant mines. Lastly, a handful of downright horrifying accounts tell of run-ins with the dreaded Wendigo from Algonquin lore, as well as with Tommyknockers while the mines were still in operation. Thanks for tuning in for this paranormal pit stop. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Good night.